Alrighty, welcome back to the Final Fantasy VII Enemy Trivia Challenge. Hope you guys had a great week. Hope everything has been great. Very happy to be back. And we are approaching the end of the game here. I don't think we'll finish today or anything, because we still have a good amount of enemies to talk about. And we still have post-game stuff as well. But, pretty certain we'll get pretty close to the end of the game here today. There was one thing. There was a couple people in the comments that had some ideas that I wanted to look into, but I wanted to actually give it my full attention before bringing it up, so I'm going to wait on those. But there was one comment that said that we should check out the water heater enemy in the model viewer. So here's that. Not really much to see, but as you can see, this red thing is definitely, you know, like a piece of cloth or something draped over it, and then the fire, and like these, I mean, they just do not look like candles. Like I do genuinely think that these are supposed to be candles. I think it's supposed to be a tombstone, or like a, you know, like a, what do you call those? Not a monument. I can't think of the name. The actual name of this enemy is sculpture. Yeah, like an altar, a slab, whatever. But I do think it's supposed to be like a piece of rock, a monolith. That was the word I was looking for. Monolith. Some kind of slab of like rock, and then, which is weird because it's so like perfectly cut, but, and then like with the cloth draped over, and then I think these are supposed to be candles. But they do not look like candles at all. They definitely look like pipes, and this looks like steam or fire coming out of the pipes, and like the bottom as well looks so mechanical, you know, with like these cut legs, that I don't know, it's like two it's like two separate ideas blended into one. He will always be the water heater though for us. He will never have any other name other than the water heater. Alright, so time for some underwater exploration. We could actually fight Emerald Weapon now. We're not strong enough to beat him without like crazy strats, but since this isn't a challenge run and I can actually use anything I want, I could definitely beat him now. Oh yeah, that's right. We have the red sub, which means this boy ain't even here. I'm so used to just doing these in order, doing each thing in order. But I want to fight everything in order for the trivia, so we'll wait to do Emerald Weapon until the end. Everyone wish my dog a happy birthday. Happy birthday, dog. I need I need a name, or else it just sounds like I'm talking to anyone. Happy birthday, dog. Yo, dog, happy birthday. We do get to talk about another Turk fight here. This will be fun. Makeda. That's a cool name. Happy birthday, Makeda. This does screw up my MP Turbo. And my all. Why don't you have Magic Plus? Hello? What are we doing out here? And why don't you have enemy skill? Still gonna wait on putting on Quadra Magic, because I feel like it's still kind of strong for now. Also, I have so many people in the comments ask me when I go to cure, why don't I do this? I don't know, man. It's just like MP matters so little when I'm not doing a challenge run. And it just, I don't know, it feels better to just be like bam, 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 than to be like bam, bam. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I know you can do this, okay? I get so many people ask me like, hey, don't you know you can do that? Yes, I know I can do this. Okay, I've been playing the game since I was freaking 4 years old. I've beaten this game 1,000 times. I do know you can do this. Okay, I don't know. If you wonder why I don't do something, it's probably just because no reason at all. Also, we got the escort guard. Big money. I think I'll just give it to Red 13, even though he loses some strength. Yeah, most of the time, if I'm doing something stupid, there's really no reason at all for it. It's just I played this game so much that I just don't even think about. Like, if I'm not doing a challenge run where I need to be completely optimal, I don't really care about being completely optimal because I know, you know, I'm fine. Do I want to put on the conformer? Not really. I'd rather just level up materia, honestly. I mean, down here, I want to equip it. Because probably the only way I'm going to be able to kill anything down here. What's the yellow thing on the bottom left? This? It's a light, I think. Like, you know, like a pipe leading to a little light in the wall, like an inlet light. If there's anything... See if we can find another one down here or something, but yeah, I think it's just a light. Alright, starting off with Unknown 2. So, this is the first time you can do the Galnica. So, we're going to do it now. But these enemies are actually like the strongest in the game. The strongest regular enemies in the game. If you wanted to do enemies based on, you know, like relative strength, you would do the Galnica last. But since we can get down here now, and most of the time we always come down here as soon as we can, we'll just do them now. But yeah, these guys are way above the power level of any enemies we've fought so far, and above the power level of pretty much every enemy for the rest of the game. Some of the enemies in the final dungeon are somewhat comparable to these guys, but yeah, they don't mess around. So, first of all of the unknown enemies, Unknown 1, 2, and 3, are all references to the unknown enemies in the Great Sea Trench in Final Fantasy V. Let's see if I can actually get a picture of them. There's a couple different ones. There's this guy, and then there's this guy, and then there's this guy, and then there's this guy. I can't really make them any bigger because these are the sprites, but there's these 4 enemies in the sea trench. Why is it so hard to say sea trench? She trench. The sea trench in Final Fantasy V, and they're all just called Unknown. So this is kind of a reference to that, and there's 4 different ones. So these guys are a reference to that, which I never knew. It's pretty cool. The idea behind these unknown enemies was that basically Shinra was transporting Shinra experiments in the Galnica, and then the ship went down. I always thought that these were like creepy sea creatures or something, But these are actually Shinra experiments. They were in the Galnica ship. They were being transported, and then the ship went down. So now they've been, like, mutating and festering down here in this sunken ship all this time. And so that's why they're called unknowns. Unknown 2 gives the most Gil, XP, and AP of all three of the unknowns. He also has an Aurora armlet for a steal, which is crazy. A Lunar Curtain as a drop, and he can be morphed into a guard source. But there's better enemies for guard sources. But yeah, he's pretty stacked. Aurora armlet for a steal, Lunar Curtain for a drop, and guard source for a morph. He absorbs poison, even though none of its attacks cause poison. He has Question Mark Needle, which causes paralysis, and Abnormal Breath, which causes confusion on one party member. And he always uses Abnormal Breath at the start of the fight, as you saw used on Cloud. From 50% HP to 25% HP, he will counter physical attacks with Abnormal Breath. And below that, he'll counter with Question Mark Needle. So this guy is rough. He's got confusion, he's got paralysis, he's got counters when he gets lower health. He's pretty strong enemy, as all these unknown enemies are. Yep, and he just one-shot Cloud. Ouch. Let's do this. Ow. Gonna need to use like something here. No. It's not very nice. Hey, good to see you, Ramiel. Uh-oh. Bro, he's so fast. This is a problem. Problem is, I don't have any MP. I don't think you can be put to sleep, but try it. Oh, this might actually just kill him. Red 13's huge. Yeah. Stardust raid. Big strong. Alright, raid boss down. So 3,000 XP, 300 AP, and 10,000 gil from that guy. Plus you can guard source from him, but like I said, there's better guard source targets than him. But if you never, or if you didn't know, kind of the gimmick of this area is that it's a source farm. Every enemy down here gives you a source. So the idea is post-game you can come down here and morph to like max out your stats. There's much better places to morph though. Guard sources, power sources, I think no, not speed sources. Magic sources, maybe. There's a lot easier enemies to do it, to source farm off of, and also there's multiple enemy fights, so you can W item multiply and make it even easier. But if you're not doing any of that and you just want one place to get all the sources, you can get all of them down here. And if you spend a ridiculously long amount of time here, you could max your stats. Okay. Let's check out the Turk fight. Okay, so first let's talk about Reno. So, fun fact about Reno that I'm so excited to talk about again. Reno, once again, has his really cool gimmick where if you hit him with specifically Bolt, Bolt 2, or Bolt 3, his next attack will always be Electroprod 2, which is basically just a stronger Electroprod. At this point in the game, you're probably not using Bolt, so most people are never going to see this, but it's so cool that they actually carried this gimmick all the way from his first fight with the pyramids to here. You know, even to the Gelnika, he still has this gimmick where if you hit him with Bolt, he basically electrifies his rod and then gets to use a more powerful attack. And it's not a counter, it just makes his next attack that move. I think it would have worked better if, like, any electric attack did it, but I don't think they really had the ability to do that. But yeah, like maybe if you use Trine, they could have just added like maybe Trine. That would have been nice, because at this point maybe you're still using Trine, but I wouldn't imagine many people are still using Bolt. But here, I'll use Bolt, and then we'll see his next attack is going to be Electroprod 2. So there you go. But just such a cool gimmick that I never knew. I've played this game so many times, been through it so many times, would have never known about that without checking his AI. And never would have thought that they'd carry it all the way through the whole game. He also has Neo Turk Light, which once again is not fire element, but does cause confusion. You can steal the extremely powerful Tough Ring from him, and the only other source for it is the final fight with him later. But you can steal from both fights to get 2 Tough Rings. And then let's talk about Rude. Do I have Steel, by the way? Yes. Let's talk about Rude. So actually, let's get rid of Reno first, actually. Let's steal his item. If we can. We are a bit not exactly low level, but not exactly high level either. So might take some attempts. Red 13's looking the wrong way. Stop it. There we go. Yeah, so you can actually take them out separately in this fight. They don't run away together. Oh my god, Red 13 being confused is a problem. He does so much damage. Oh my god, the conformer damage. Bro, stop hitting Red 13! If he accidentally kills Rude, I'm gonna be so upset. At least it wasn't red 13 this time. Nice. Ribbon. Finally, hit the one with the ribbon. There's so much health. Okay. So let's talk about Rude. So, Rude in the Galnica fight. Rude has some really interesting AI in this battle. He can use Cure 2 on himself or Reno if their HP is below 50%. And he retains his code from Gungaga, where he won't attack Tifa unless she is the only one remaining. And he will only either shoulder tackle her or just print a ... message and do nothing. So all of that would be really cool, except they accidentally completely broke his AI in this fight. So most likely you'll never see him do any of the cool stuff like print the ... message or heal himself or heal Reno or any of that stuff. Instead, the moment that he ever does any attack that isn't a shoulder charge, he breaks. And the rest of the fight, he does absolutely nothing. So as you can see, I'm not even in wait time right now. He's just completely broken and does nothing the entire fight. They didn't even fix this for the PC version. This is still a thing in every version of the game. They never fixed it. He's just completely useless this fight. Which is a big shame, because this is supposed to be like the secret cool Turk fight that, you know, you only get this one if you fight them before going and fighting them at the end. But yeah, it's completely broken. This is the first of the 3 fights so you can steal the Zydric from him, which is the second best equipment in the game. The 2 others being the 2 other Rude fights, the one at Rocket Town and then the final one. So you can get a total of 3, but this is the first time you can get one. And it's the easiest one to get a Zydric, because all you have to do is take out Reno, and then you can sit here and steal for as long as you want, because he does nothing. And I believe this is the only AI in the entire game that's actually completely busted. Like, we've talked a lot about bad AI in this game and bad coding and coding errors and stuff, but there isn't any other enemy in the game that actually just completely breaks and the AI loop like doesn't work, so he just gets stuck. So yeah, and it happens to be like a pretty important fight. It's not just a random fight. It's a Turk fight. So it's a big shame. But just goes to show you how rushed this game was. I think this whole area was kind of rushed too. Ooh, we got Bloodfest. Big XP. I don't remember why exactly it breaks, but it just doesn't loop properly. Which, like I said, is the only... I think it's the only AI in the game that does that. There's plenty of AI that doesn't do what it's supposed to do, but that's the only AI in the game that just straight doesn't loop. So he does one attack and then just gets stuck. This is Unknown 1. Unknown 1 has a fire armlet for steal, a light curtain for drop, but it's a really small chance, like 4% chance, and that's if you're high level. And can be morphed into power sources, but heavy tanks are much easier, and you can also duplicate off of screamers, so he's like the worst option for power sources, but you can get power sources from him. He absorbs fire even though he has no fire attacks, and he has 2 different tongue attacks, which are the same but have different animations for some reason. Which is actually kind of cool, how they gave him like 2 different animations to the same attack so you don't see the same animation over and over. And just as with the other enemies down here, he's really strong. That didn't even look like a tongue attack. Looked like he hit me with his arms. I wonder if maybe that attack actually was supposed to be called something else. And that's why there's two moves with the same... two of the same move with different animations. Maybe it was actually supposed to just be called something else. 'Cause, like, he hit me with his tail. That's not even his tongue. You think that is his tongue? Well, either way, the other one he hit me with like his arms, so... One of them's the tongue and one of them's his arms. You can decide which is which. I'm not going down that road. Either way, he's a wild enemy. Imagine how cool this area could be in the remake. I don't know if they'll do anything like this, but, you know... Spooky sunken ship with Shinra experiments roaming around. Not even Shinra experiments, but like messed up, mutated Shinra experiments because they've been down here. And here is Serpent. So this is the... This I kind of wonder, like, is this a Shinra experiment or is this just an enemy... Like something swimming around the Galnica that like got in or something. But anyways, Serpent was the actual final fight in the original Battle Square demo. So there was an old Battle Square demo where you would fight enemies through like the battle arena. And I think you actually did it with more than one character too. You did it with like 3 characters. And this guy was like the final boss. He's the only source of infinite mind sources in the entire game. The other 2 sources are in the Whirlwind Maze, and so they're missable. All but one of its attacks are water, so the water ring that you can steal from it, you can use against it to make him almost free. He also has a very unique AI, setting its attack based on the comparison between his own HP and the party's average HP, which can make it pretty hard to learn Aqualung from him because you have to be at a very specific HP level to get him to use it. But yeah, he actually checks the parties, like, add up all 3 party members' HP versus his HP, and that's what determines what attack he uses. So if you just sit here and heal, he'll use the same attack over and over. If you don't attack him and keep your HP at, like, the same level, he'll use the same attack over and over. Yeah, he's got some scary attacks. He's got like a tidal wave attack. He's got Aqualung. Man, at this point, I could have just made Yuffie my attacker now because of the Conformer being so strong. Yeah, very similar to Leviathan and Bottom Swell. I kind of like that you get a Vincent weapon down here too. Okay, so we still need Unknown 3. Which you can fight in here, so let's stay in here for a minute. There he is. So this is Unknown 3. Unknown 3 has a bolt armlet to steal, drops holy torches, and can be morphed into a magic source. The only reliable magic sources other than an enemy, the only other enemy that gives them is 8 eyes from the battle arena. If you fight the battle arena fight correctly, you can actually duplicate in the battle arena. So that would be a better option if you want to try it, but it's really difficult. This guy's a much more safe, consistent way to get magic sources, but would take a lot longer. Sense Poison Fang is poison elemental as well as gives poison. Wearing something that protects against poison will cause the entire attack to miss. He only uses Creepy Touch, which does no damage and causes sadness on targets with poison. So if you allow your party to get poisoned, he will no longer damage you. So you could just let all 3 of your characters get poison and then use like regen or just slowly heal over time. And this guy will just use Creepy Touch forever. So that's one way you can deal with him. Unknown 3 is supposed to check if it has MP before using Bolt 2 so that it can use another attack if it doesn't, instead of printing the ran out of energy message. But due to a bug, it only checks to see if it has more than 4 MP instead of the 22 MP required for Bolt 2. So if he does run out of MP, he'll check to see if he has at least 4 MP instead of the 22 required for Bolt 2, so he can end up just printing the message. And actually, I wonder if you could magic hammer him. You can. See, I looked into the code, and basically they just, when they did the check, I think they copy and pasted from something else without actually checking how much Bolt 2 costs. Or rather, I think they accidentally checked for Bolt 1's MP cost instead of Bolt 2, because Bolt 1 costs 4 MP, I think. Yeah. So they accidentally checked for Bolt 1 MP instead of Bolt 2 MP. Yeah, you can do that trick on the serpent too, but it's pretty annoying. There you go. Skill power used up. Even though it's not supposed to be able to do that. It's supposed to check and do something else. Ow. That did 4,000 damage. Yep. Yeah, they just, like, if you have an attack that's 30 MP, it'll check if you have 30 MP instead of checking, like, the attack itself. And you can tell that it was coded by different people because some enemies check MP, and if it doesn't have the right MP, it'll use a different attack. Other enemies will just print the message and not do anything. Or maybe it was on purpose. Maybe they wanted some enemies to be smarter than others. They wanted some enemies to be like, I'm out of MP, so I'm going to do a physical attack instead. And they wanted other enemies to just be like, useless if they don't have MP. Alright, we have probably my 2 favorite names in the game. Poodler and Bad Rap. I absolutely love Bad Rap. That is such an amazing name. So, Poodler is pretty weak for being in the Galnica. He only has 1 physical attack and a fire attack that he does as a counter. He is, however, the only speed source morph in the game. Every other speed source is just a pickup. And they also have Turbo Ethers for steel and X Potions for drop. So, very nice enemies. And then the bad rap. The bad rap is the only luck source farm in the game. The only other luck sources are one-time items off the ground, same as the Poodler. They also get more chance to whip multiple times based on missing HP, up to a max of 50% chance at less than or equal to 50% HP. You can also steal the ink item from them, which is a completely useless item. I've talked about it in the past, but basically the way the ink item is coded, well, not the ink item, but darkness, the way that the darkness ailment is coded is the attack command, so this command right here, has less of a chance to hit if you're in darkness. So if you use like 2x cut, if I remember correctly, even something like 2x cut isn't affected by darkness. It's only the attack command. And enemies do not have the attack command. Every enemy in the game has a unique attack. Even if it's just a regular attack, it's called something else. It's called like claw or cut or whip or something, you know. So because they're different attacks, they're not affected by darkness. So darkness is a completely useless ailment for us to use against the enemy. And the ink item just gives darkness. It doesn't deal any damage or anything. It just gives darkness. So it's a completely useless item, but you can steal them from bad raps if you want. If you want to complete your collection of items. But there's no reason to use them. There is a reason for this playthrough, though, because we used it on the crab enemy to see that smog attack. But yeah, other than that, no use for him. Nope. Darkness is a completely useless ailment. It works on you, but doesn't work on enemies at all. Ooh, I got Ultima. And that should be everything for the Galnica. Yeah, this is such a cool area. And even extra cool if you come down here early, because every enemy is like a mini boss fight. Yeah, fortunately, there's not really much in the game. Hello. Fortunately, there's not really much in the game that gives darkness. There's not like a limit break that gives darkness or any like notable magic that gives darkness. It's really only the ink item. So it's not like the game fools you into using darkness all the time and it ends up doing nothing. Most people are never even really going to use the ink item. Would be a big shame if, like, I don't know, Sid had like a limit break called Smoke Bomb or something that caused darkness to every enemy, and then it was just completely useless. But fortunately, that's not a thing. We don't need to visit Lucretia because we're not using Vincent. And there ain't no way we're getting Chaos on this run. We did visit her. What playthrough did we visit her? Because we're actually using Vincent. Just recently. I don't remember. Yeah, Vincent needs some more love. I feel like Vincent might be our least used character in life. I should do that. I should go back to all my challenge runs and see what like my most used and least used characters are. I feel like Vincent's definitely up there. For no like real reason, because Vincent is pretty good. His limits suck. But Vincent himself is not bad. He's got the 3rd best magic stat in the game. He has the best MP stat in the game, I think. He's a really good magic caster. A lot of his weapons have a lot of slots. He also has the 255% weapons, which are like busted with Death Blow. He has one of the best ultimate weapons in the game if you grind, but we never grind for these challenge runs, so it's kind of useless, unfortunately. He's also long range, which gives him a huge buff. So yeah, he's a great character. We just kind of tend to not use him. I think part of the problem with Vincent is the same problem I have with Sid. You just get him later. So I tend to already have my party established, and then I get him, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to use him now. I've already kind of decided who I'm going to use. That's why I don't use Sid a lot either, even though Sid is like third best character in the game, maybe. He's like really good. But I just tend to not use him because I've already like decided, okay, I'm going to use these 3 characters. Unless I decide at the very beginning of the game, like I'm for sure going to use Sid this run, I tend to not use him. Save twice, whatever. Okay, so now it's time to go to Rocket Town. Yeah, Kate Sith is probably my least used character. Again, not for like any real specific reason. Kate Sith is really strong. I just kind of tend to not use him. He's not strong early. He gets a lot better later, and by the time he's good, I just don't use him. Also, Kate Sith is probably the best magic user in the game, other than Aerith. But I tend to use Cloud as my magic user, and because I can't get rid of Cloud anyways, I don't have a reason to have Kate Sith and Cloud, you know? So I think that's probably why I don't use him a lot. Cloud kind of takes the same role as Kate Sith would. Who are the first 2? It depends on a lot of factors, actually. When you're talking about the best character in the game. Kate Sith is objectively the best character in the game because of slots, but that's a lame answer. But if we're talking like just straight up, who's the best? No rules. You can do anything you want. Who's the best character? Kate Sith is. But, you know, like Yuffie, Red 13 is probably the strongest character early because of the weapon that I always forget the name of. I don't know why my brain doesn't work, Seraph Comb. Yuffie is the strongest character when she gets the Conformer for quite a while. Kate Sith is probably the best magic user because of all of his weapons. Or Vincent. Yeah, Kate Sith is like really strong even without slots. He's still like top 3 because slots is really like without game over, slots is still really strong. And dice is also really strong because it does static damage. So, you know, if you get like a really good roll early in the game, he can do thousands of damage when your characters are not doing thousands of damage. I'm going to go ahead and switch in Sid because it's annoying to switch him in halfway. Bob. So yeah, like, and then Sid is also really strong because you get him really late in the game, so they kind of upped all of his values. His weapons are like really, really strong. He gets his limits super fast. His limits are super strong right off the bat. like jump is really strong. All of his like early limits do a ton of damage because you get him so late they had to kind of catch him up to everyone else. And like he has crazy weapons too. His weapons do a ton of damage. The materia slots aren't great, but he also has the one of 2 triple weapons in the game. So yeah, Sid is good. He also has the second strongest limit in the game by just damage values. So he's good. I think that the only 2 real outliers are Barret and Tifa. Tifa unfortunately kind of blows. Her limit, if you like super grind her limit at the start of the game, she can do a lot of damage because she's really the only one doing like multi-hit damage until you get 2x cut, 4x cut, Quadra Magic. So she can be really good. And then of course the Power Soul and stuff, like for the speed run, she's the strongest by far. But if we're talking like all the way through the game playing casually, you're not really going to do the Power Soul thing, and the Power Soul thing eventually falls off because instead of giving Tifa a bunch of ailments on purpose, you can just have Yuffie swinging for 9s with the Conformer. But yeah, like that's why I said it. It's really based on what you're doing. Like if you're speedrunning the game or you're doing some kind of challenge run, then Tifa can be the best character in the game by far with the Power Soul and the Master Fist, because she takes the least amount of setup to be the strongest character. But if we're saying, you know, post-game, you have everything available to you, now Tifa kind of blows. Barret has one of the most busted ultimate weapons, but you only get it at the very end of the game, and you also have to have a ton of super high AP materia for it to be good. And if you don't have a bunch of high AP materia, then it's like the worst ultimate weapon in the game. So yeah, it's really dependent on what we're talking about. I think for the least amount of effort, and not including the game over exploit, for the least amount of effort, Yuffie, Tifa, and Red 13 are probably the strongest in the game. Red 13, you know, just cooks on his own. Plus he has Cosmo Memory, which is really great until you get multi-hit stuff. Yuffie, just give her the Conformer and she wins. She also has the strongest single hit limit in the game. Once you get multi-hit limits, then it's kind of bad, but she is the easiest character in the game to hit 9s with. And then Tifa, just give her the Power Soul and Death Sentence and she cooks everything. And yeah, that's the other thing that sucks about Tifa is the Premium Heart sucks. Premium Heart's probably the worst. It's better than the Ultimate Weapon, I think. Well, I guess the Ultimate Weapon does have the good stat boosts, though. I think the HP Shout is probably the worst Ultimate Weapon in the game. And then the Premium Heart's probably number 2 worst. Because Tifa's greatest asset is her limit, and you have to not use it for the Premium Heart to be good. But give her Death Blow in the Premium Heart, and like then keep her limit break and she can do some damage. But yeah, it sucks. The HP Shout works the same as Cloud's, but I think it doesn't have the same magic boost, and also you give it to Kate Sith instead of Cloud, which is a big difference, because Cloud is Cloud and Kate Sith is Kate Sith. So even though they have the same effect, the fact that one of them goes to Cloud and one of them goes to Kate Sith makes it quite a different thing. Something got screwed up here. You're supposed to have this. Not that it really matters, but